California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.
Coming up on California Heartland, protecting California's wildlife 1 acre at a time.
A lot of these endangered or threatened species would become extinct unless we take some action.
Traditional cattle ranchers turned conservationists, and conservationists turned cowboys. Meet the two groups who are teaming up to preserve California's open spaces. And
come on, bud. Come on, give me a little room here.
A former Marine enlists for a second tour of duty. Horseshoeing. See why he went from one kind of metal to another. Plus,
don't water your lawn every day.
Waterworks with Master Gardener Fred Hoffman. Learn new techniques to see exactly how much water your lawn and plants need.
From your backyard to the back country, in a field or on your family table, it's all about what keeps California moving and growing. This is California Heartland.
With its rusty star on the fence, you'd think this was your typical old-fashioned farm. But within the fenced confines of this 840-acre property in Clements, you'll find the Wilburs are a whole new breed of cowboy.
In order for us to survive in the cattle industry, we have to be progressive. And this is another avenue that we can take to be progressive.
Sure, they're ranchers, pulling hay bales, checking on cattle, even tending their horses. But the Wilburs are conservation cowboys, traditional farmers and ranchers trying to save the environment, their land, and their livelihood. And it's all because of what's in their fields.
When you come out here, it doesn't look like there's anything living. It looks dead, but you say there's a lot happening here.
Well, in the spring, this will come alive with wildflowers and fairy shrimp and, you know, the things that we see here now for coyote thistle. It's one of the special plants that live in vernal pools around here.
It's a little sharp.
Thistle, fairy shrimp, wildflowers. These are all plants and animals found in vernal pools, an important natural resource in California that makes the Wilbur's chunk of land perfect for conservation banking. Conservation banking is a way for developers and builders to make up for environmental damage by permanently preserving habitat for endangered species elsewhere.
Of course, as I've always said, that cattlemen have been true environmentalists all their lives.
And now they get to benefit from it. Ranchers get paid thousands of dollars for putting their property in a bank. But these conservation cowboys don't just benefit from the payment they receive. They can still use this land for grazing cattle. In fact, Fish and Wildlife officials say it's actually better for endangered species because of what cattle do with their hooves.
I notice there's hoof marks all through this. You think it's something you're trying to protect. You wouldn't want anyone to walk on it.
Well, that's part of what makes it good. You know, you chisel it up, disturb the ground, and the little plants grow up, and it gives them an opportunity to grow and reproduce.
The Fish and Wildlife Service oversees dozens of conservation banks throughout California. Here at Jenny Farms in Davis, it's not fairy shrimp, but a much bigger animal that's reaping the benefits, the majestic and migrating Swainson's hawk. So when you come out here, it's like inventory. Show us what you do.
I will just scan with my binoculars and look, and whatever I see, any kind of raptor, I'll take a note of it. Sometimes it's a northern harrier, sometimes it's a red-tailed hawk.
Christy Earhart is one of many biologists who works for Wildlands Incorporated, a major player in the conservation banking industry. Wildlands is an environmental planning and land management company which forms partnerships between developers and farmers.
Without some help, a lot of these endangered or threatened species would become extinct unless we take some actions to give them a place that they can thrive. And I think that's what this does, you know, for the people in general.
If you're curious if this idea of setting aside some land just for a bunch of birds actually works, all I can tell you is we've just traveled a couple miles past sod farm, past sunflower field. We looked close, didn't see anything, till we got right here to the edge of their preserve, and we looked up.
To see the impressive wingspan of these large raptors streaking across the blue sky with so much power, you wouldn't think they'd need much help from humans. Until you see the power lines and realize just how closely we coexist. But with conservation banking, unlikely allies like farmers and corporations are giving endangered species like these a little lift.
You know, Martin has grazed his livestock here for you know, a long time, and so the land is adapted to having cows and having endangered species together, so you know, it works out real well.
Hi, I'm Mary Leiser.
I'm Greg Leiser, and this is Greg Leiser Farms.
Here at the festival we have gourds and gourds and more gourds, every kind of a gourd that you can imagine.
Gourds are used for, in our case, we sell a lot to artists. Hawaiians make a traditional ipu heki type drum that they use in their dances.
I organize the festival. I get everyone lined out, I do all the advertising, get everybody situated when they come in, organize the gourd classes. So we try to make it more, not just our event, but a community event. This year and last year the kids were involved.
I made a firework night of 4th of July. It gets me to do art, and I think gourds are interesting.
I really love painting, I love drawing. I really want to be an artist when I get older. The most part I like about it is the shape. You can think of so many different things to make it into.
You can use it just like any woodworking, woodworking tools you can use. Anything that you can do with wood, you can do with a gourd.
Californians love asparagus. 75% of the entire United States supply of fresh green asparagus is grown right here. Food and lifestyle expert Laura McIntosh is bringing it home from the crops to your kitchen.
Well, hi everyone, and welcome right out here in the field. We're on an island, and I'm here with Jim Jerkovich. Jim is the manager of the island. Explain the island.
It's Victoria Island in the middle of the delta.
The soil here, very rich, fertile delta soil.
Yes, peat soil, very light and airy. It's an organic soil,
yeah,
which lends itself well to asparagus production because the spears can pop through very easily.
It's a very labor-intense vegetable, isn't it?
Yes, it's all harvested by hand. Sometimes every acre on the island of asparagus, when we're in peak production, is walked every day.
10 inches a day. They say actually you can literally watch asparagus grow. So if you have nothing better to do, come on out and enjoy
watch
it.
Asparagus grow.
Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
We are ready to cook it up, and I'd like to introduce to you our chef today, Tony Baker. You have seen him once before, and he is back to do some really fun recipes. Tony, thanks for joining us again.
No worries, this is awesome.
Now this is a salad, easy, simple. You're going to show us.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you the simplest possible vinaigrette that you could possibly ever make. It's really simple. I've got some shallot. You could use onion, and I'm just going to run a knife through these again. I didn't do a very good job earlier. I want these fairly fine because they're, oh, I'm shaking all over.
They're pungent, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
pungent.
you want them. Okay.
There you go. All right, so I'm going to pop those into my bowl.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Easy enough.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to add just a point of garlic. Not much. Raw garlic like this, it can give a bit of a burniness to it. So I'm just going to put just a tad.
And that's a point. Okay.
A point.
I like that.
Okay, and then rule of thumb, depends on how much acid you like in your vinaigrette, but you can go as much as 50-50. olive oil and vinegar.
Okay.
Or you can go 2 parts oil to 1 part vinegar, and that will make a richer dressing.
So there's no real rule of thumb. It's what you
it's
like.
what you like, and you'll learn, you know, through making it. Yeah, as you go. So I've got just a regular champagne vinegar. Now, what else am I putting in? This is blood orange olive oil. And it's potent. Yeah, it's really delicious, and it's a California product, which is wonderful.
Oh, I
local.
love that.
Yep. And I'm going to add some fresh ground black pepper. I love my
Tony
pepper.
and his pepper.
Yeah, a little kosher salt.
Okay.
And give that a little whisk.
That's
and
it.
this is an unemulsified. People go, I like the creamy. Well, you know, that's not that difficult either.
Right.
Yeah,
so to make this creamy, you would add?
You would add perhaps an egg yolk or a tad of mustard beforehand, and then pop it in your blender or your food processor deal.
Yeah.
And off
Call
you
it
go.
a day. Okay.
Yeah. And so that, is, in essence, is a vinaigrette. Okay, now cheese. Good cheese is important. You know, it's a little spendy, but it's worth the extra.
Yes,
it's a
it
little
is.
luxury. And I'm just taking this as a good old European-style tater peeler.
I like that, tater peeler.
And you just shave it. Big bowl, big bowl.
Nice greens.
So we pop some of that in there.
Ooh, that cheese is good.
Okay, now another little twist on this salad. Pre-sliced Parma prosciutto.
Okay.
Parma prosciutto, of course, is just a dry cured ham. So let's add some of our dressing.
Okay.
I'll give that a little mix up, make sure I don't splash you.
It's all right.
Okay, and then I'm going to use my ladle here, and my imaginary ladle.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to use my fingers.
Oh, see? A lot of us do that at home.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to toss in some beautiful asparagus tips. Yes.
Now, a lot of people do just like the tips, although I eat the whole spear of the asparagus. So if you do just like the tips, you can buy them that way, or when you cut them off, don't lose the end of the spear. Make a stalk out of them. Throw them in the stalk.
Oh, they're
They're awesome.
Yep. Oh, totally. Okay. Pop that in the middle of a plate.
Okay.
Now you could add a little tuna fish, a little bit of chicken, make this into a full-on dinner salad if that's what you choose to do. So very simple.
Yes.
Okay. Parma prosciutto.
And
nice
you're just throwing
and
it on top.
salty.
Yes.
Again, it's kind of fancy, but kind of not. I mean, it really is simple ingredients.
Yeah, rustic, refined.
Exactly. I mean, great before a dinner party.
John Foldberg is an in-demand farrier in San Luis Obispo County.
And now I'm going to pull the shoe off. You start back at the heel and just rotate up towards the toe, and the shoe comes off.
But horseshoeing is John's second line of work. He was a lieutenant colonel for the United States Marine Corps. For years, this highly decorated Marine lived by the credo Semper Fi, always faithful to serving his country. After leaving a 21-year-long career marked by this kind of metal, John took on a career forging this kind of metal to put his family first.
It's been a wonderful challenge, and we've been very blessed through it all.
He even named his new business Double F Shoeing for his daughters, the Foldberg Fillies. After taking trimming and farrier courses at a friend's school in Kentucky, John's tools of the trade went from guns and knives
That one I picked up in Lebanon when I was a military observer with the United Nations.
to an anvil, horseshoes, and a blacksmith shop on wheels. John spent much of his military career in Kuwait during Desert Storm, serving as a military observer for the United Nations in Lebanon and in South America.
So the most important, most senior medal is the Navy Marine Corps medal, and I got that for disarming a sniper down in Colombia who was holding some hostages.
The response he typically gets from other Marines about his career change?
Oh man, they just looked at me cross-eyed. What in the world are you doing? So why do you want to do that?
Earning this medal with horses isn't easy, even for a tough Marine.
It includes getting bit, kicked, struck, pooped on, you name it, but it's all in the job description.
John says he would much rather battle a horse
Slide over, Denali. Come on, bud. Come on, give me a little room here.
than the enemy.
Dealing with horses, you get jerked around. Dealing with the enemy, someone's shooting at you, trying to hurt you.
Now with his trusty companion, Yellow, by his side,
Good boy. Good boy.
John works ranches like Cheryl Miller's in Templeton.
I asked him, you know, why would you want to be a shoer? And he said that he had gone with a friend and he just liked being outside and the countryside.
Yeah, I'm done at 3 o'clock. And oh, by the way, I've been to all of my girls' basketball games, and it's hard to beat that.
Now, as he did back then, John carries his family in his heart.
It's helped me become a better husband and father. And the reason I say that is it allows me to do the things I wasn't able to do as a Marine, and now I can just spend more time with my family, which it's what it's all about.
Pack your bags and grab your boots. It's time to hit the road with the Ag Traveler.
Just east of Sacramento lies the rich lands of El Dorado County. With a long tradition of agriculture that dates back to the gold rush. But while the area has grown up around the growing, the focus is still on food.
I love chocolate.
Thank you.
Especially for the 500,000 visitors a year who take a 1 or 2 day trip down the farm trail.
Wink, wink.
The El Dorado Farm Trail is lined with over 100 ag attractions you and your family can enjoy. Small farms and ranches all ready and waiting for you to drive up and drive in.
Hi, I'm Jean. This is my daughter Shauna. We're the owners of the Fudge Factory Farm. Come on inside and see what we do.
20 years ago, Jean Reinders took her own craving for chocolate and turned it into a family farm.
We make over 75 different flavors of fudge.
Here you'll find more than just a chocolate creation. Jean grows a variety of fruits like apples, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and even walnuts. She considers these her homegrown special ingredients to spice up her fudge and favorite goodies.
I so want Wacky Road.
We make everything right here.
And then, of course, my favorite, I see those sitting right there, are the apples. Those are caramel apples, right?
Yeah, these are caramel apples. The one is a white chocolate, what we call our apple pie apple, which is dipped in white chocolate.
Here we go, the apple table. Shauna, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, this looks fantastic. All right, Jean, what can I do? I want to make my apple.
All right. First of all, you've got to get the stick in the apple.
Okay.
Go ahead, pick up a stick. We use paper
like
sticks.
this, okay.
Point side up. Good. You're getting good. Okay. Blossom side down.
That would be this.
Hand over the top.
It's not going to go through my hand?
Nope.
All right.
It will not. I guarantee it. And voila.
Look at that.
Go ahead and dip it in the caramel. Now you're just going to drag one side through and the other side through.
Like this?
Yes. Very good.
Drag it through?
Drag it through. Good.
Look at that. And then this way?
That way. Perfect. Then you can.
It's a step-by-step process that gives the Fudge Factory Farm that special blend.
Well, I think because we're a farm and that we grow a lot of things that we put into our candy, I think that's our biggest difference, and that we do make everything from scratch. You can see actual farm in progress. You can see what happens, how the product comes in. No matter when you come here, there's always someone making candy, making jams.
Hey, Shauna, can I get a quick picture?
Oh, sure.
All right, great, thanks. Something you have to do is hang out with the bear right here at the Fudge Factory Farm. You see that? Chocolate makes life bearable. Just one of the many stops on the El Dorado County Farm Trail. And just about 10 minutes up the road, another great place, Patrick's Berry Farm. You must be Suzanne?
Gary.
Very nice to meet you. So I see you've got berries here, huh?
We got berries.
All right, well, let's take a look
Let me
here.
show you what we have. We've got 35 rows of berries. Pick your own berries. We start off at about June. There is nothing like picking a berry off the vine that's warmed from the sun.
Patrick's Berry Farm produces 18 acres of fruits and vegetables each year.
All right, so how often do you come here to pick berries?
Oh, as often as I can. Of course, they have them scattered throughout the whole year.
Is there a secret to picking these off the vine?
Well,
or?
yes, you kind of want to get a feel for which ones are ripe, and sometimes you can do that by tasting them. So they charge you by the quart and the color of the tongue.
When you see kids, even adults, actually identify and understand the plant that the food came from, and that it's even local. Oh my gosh, they can't wait to come back next year. They can't wait to tell their friends They're absolutely amazed at the freshness and just the satisfaction of knowing that this is something that you picked off the vine.
Speaking of vines, continue east on the trails to make your way to Boger Winery.
It just adds to the whole setting of the winery and the tasting, and just makes the whole experience that much more enjoyable.
The scenic view alone will set the tone for a wine and dine experience. This is one of the few wineries in the area to survive Prohibition. Boger Winery for decades has continued to set a high standard for quality wines.
They have a lot of variety in the whites and the reds and their dessert wines, and you'd find anything you want here at Boger. The people here at Boger are more than welcome to help you learn more about wine, help figure out what you like, and just make sure you have a really good time.
This is an easy dessert to make using an Italian cake called a colomba. By using the cake as the base, you simply cut the cake into 3 slices going across, and then you spread each of the layers with a little bit of liqueur, whipped cream, and sliced peaches, especially when peaches are in season. The wine to serve with that is a wine like our HPO from Cordy Brothers, which is made out of a grape variety invented at Davis by Professor Olmo called Early Muscat, and the light black Muscat made by Quaddy Winery in Madeira. Both of the wines need to be well chilled to be served with this fresh fruit dessert. Enjoy.
Everyone's a farmer when it comes to their own backyard. Try these tips for doing it homegrown.
Healthy plants need just the right amount of water. So how do you know when your plants have the right amount of water? Well, come on. I'll show you how and save you money to boot. The #1 cause of plant failure? Improper watering. Either too much or too little. Just don't look at the soil surface surrounding a plant, and if it's dry, add water. It's what's going down at the roots that really matters. And the easiest way to measure the amount of water at root level is to use one of these, a moisture meter. Moisture meters come in all price ranges. This one happens to be less than $10, and this one happens to be about $80. If you buy the inexpensive ones, though, make sure they work. Stick them in a cup of water and make sure that the needle moves over to wet. That's very important. So we have this nice cordyline here, and I can see it may look like it needs water, but does it really? Well, let's stick in the moisture meter and find out. During the summer, containerized plants may need water every day, especially if they're on hot concrete on a hot patio. Make sure the container does have drainage holes to allow the water someplace to go. And to make the plant even cooler during the hot summer, put a plant stand beneath that container, or you can use plant feet like this. Watering a containerized plant can be a little bit tricky. If the water starts coming out immediately, it's pulled away from the sides of the container. Add more soil to fill it up. If the water doesn't come out at all, that means you've got clogged drainage holes, so you'll need to clear out those drainage holes. You want to water a containerized plant until you see water coming out the bottom. It should take a few seconds. And if you use your moisture meter in combination with this, you'll always have a healthy plant. If you don't have a moisture meter, then dig down about 8 inches and see what that moisture level is like down at root level. You can use a trowel or a small shovel. The important thing is to dig down about 8 inches. That's where most of your roots for your shrubs will be found. That's where they're taking up the water. So you dig down and then grab a handful of the soil that's at that level. If mud runs off your hand or if it's dust, that's too wet or too dry. You want a moisture level where you can form a dirt clod, yet it breaks up easily with just a little bit of pressure. That's the right moisture level for your plants. The biggest water waster in California, the backyard lawn. People tend to have their sprinklers on way too often and way too much. During the heat of the summer, sprinklers only need maybe 1 inch to 2 inches of water per week. So how can you determine that? Put out some even bottom containers and turn on the sprinklers for about 15 minutes and then measure the amount of water in each of those containers. After you've had the sprinklers on for 15 minutes, measure the amount of water in each container. In our little test here, we have about a ½ inch of water, which means if I watered this lawn for a half hour, I'd be putting on an inch of water a week. In Central California, you may want to put on an 1.5 to 2 inches of water per week. The key, though, is deep, infrequent watering. You don't need to water your lawn more than 2 or 3 times a week to achieve your goals. You're going to save money and save water by really following one simple rule. Don't water your lawn every day. Twice a week is fine.
That's California Heartland. For more information on any of these stories, go to californiaheartland.org. I'm Chris Burrous. We'll see you next time.
Okay, this is real.
Patches Berry Farm, this is Suzanne. How can I help you?
No, I thought you said you didn't have to be strong to do this.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
You start.
Here at the festival, we have gourds,
and more gourds.
To order a copy of this show, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping. California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.